But there's
Hey, Jeff, call the planning commission meeting to order on March 24th, 2026. Before we get started, let's just do quick introductions because we have a couple of new members. Welcome and congratulations. I know it was a tough campaign to get here. So I'll start. I'm Andy Alling. I'm the chair.
David Berenberg.
Jeff Van Den Nort, one of the new guys.
And just briefly, what's your interest in being on the planning commission?
Briefly?
It was default.
Well,
No, I think obviously we're about to do the long-term plan, which is just a crucial time. So I wanted to see and I have a background in some of this work with county governments and stuff. So I thought, might be a good fit.
perfect. Yeah, I'm sure it will be.
Danielle Turin, I am the zoning administrator and planning commission clerk.
Mr. Wright.
Warren, right?
Yep.
Luke Slamba, Northwest Regional Planning Commission.
And
We're helping with the town plan.
yep, and we'll get to you shortly, Luke. And then Pat.
Yeah, hi, Pat Cox here. Yeah, I'm, I guess I was vice chair, who knows? And, and I got on the planning commission because I too was interested in the whole planning process and hopefully can bring some of my skills to assist us in this.
And then Jan, quick introduction and your interest in the planning commission.
Yep, Jan Peterson, and I have been in full-time resident in North Hero for 19 years, and I would like to be involved in the long-term plan. Planning is sort of something I'm focused on in my general view of life, and so I'm going to figure that I'm going to learn a lot too.
Welcome. And George
Salambier, and this is my third term, just newly reelected. And so I too, very interested in the town plan, particularly at this, to me, pivotal time in the future of North Hero and what kind of town it's going to be and how it's going to evolve. So I'm real interested in the process going forward with our launch really tonight with the town plans. And so I'm excited about that.
And then I see Emily just popped up on Zoom. Welcome, Emily Kloft. You're probably here to keep an eye on Luke, I assume.
Yeah, just here as well for the kickoff.
Okay, well, welcome. All right, well, as is the case, all of our March meetings, the first thing we need to do is go through our reorganization, which hopefully won't take too long. So item number 1, electing the chair and vice chair. Do I hear any nominations?
I nominate Andy for
Second it.
chair and Pat for vice chair.
I second it.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Big eye. Big
We're at
eye.
it again, Pat.
Aye.
Okay, planning commission rules of procedure,
Yeah, they were.
they've been there. We've been going under those the last 2 or 3 years now. I guess I'd just like a motion that we continue to abide by the rules of procedure for the planning commission.
I'll make that motion to abide by the same rules that we have been doing.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I did. I read them. I was a little surprised. I guess in prior boards I've been on did the full blown Robert's rules, which drove me nuts.
Not
So
yeah.
I was happy to see.
Yeah, they're actually they're modeled after the select board
Yeah,
rules
but
of procedure.
greatly simplified, which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
appreciated.
yes.
And Jeff, I have a copy of the packet if you want to see any of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
and she can put anything up here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a bunch of stuff from her, and I don't know if it's in here.
Oh, I know.
That's just tonight's packet.
Oh, tonight's packet.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, next item, authorized member to approve time cards for the ZA and PC clerk. And again, Danielle, she is under contract with the Northwest Regional Planning Commission. And ever since we've been working under that contract, I'm the one that's been authorized to sign her time cards. Willing to still do it if anybody wants to make that motion.
I'll make the motion.
You make the motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next one, this is a pretty big deal, open meeting law training requirement. So first of all, and I think Corinne has talked to both Jan and Jeff, newly elected members and re-elected members are required to take the open meeting law training. And the chair of each commission has to take it every year. So that would be me. So NRPC does this every year, Catherine over there. So she has a session scheduled on Thursday, the 30th at 6 o'clock. It's a Zoom thing. So I would encourage you to attend that. If you can't make it for whatever reason, there are other options. You can get a hold of Corinne. And another acceptable thing is if you can't make that one, there will be a video, and so you could watch a video recording of it afterwards. But anyway, that is part of our town procedures that we all go through the open meeting training. So I'll leave it up to all of you individually as to how you handle it. And then, yeah, especially with new members, let's just go through quickly the timeline for our meetings and postings and everything. So first, in accordance with the open meeting law, the agenda needs to be posted 48 hours before the meeting, which would make it Sunday night in our case. So what we've been doing is trying to get the agenda out by Thursday or Friday the week before. We'll continue to do that. And let's just talk about that. Danielle's been sending out the agenda and the packet. And so we all have a chance to see it. You've been typically making just one hard copy to bring to the meetings, if anybody wants to see that. So I think we can continue that. Although it might be, if we just had some hard copies of the agenda page itself, because we might be having visitors that stop in. So maybe have a few of these available. And then if anybody else sees anything in the packet ahead of time that they'd like to have a hard copy of, you can just get a hold of Danielle and she can take care of that. So I think that's really it as far as that goes. And then the last thing, confirm the time of the schedule. And since forever, we've been meeting on the fourth Tuesday of every month at 7 o'clock. I've brought it up for several years in a row. If it's possible to meet earlier than that, it would have created hardships for certain members. I think, Warren, you may still fall into that.
Depends on what time I get at work.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to say 6:30, do you think you could make that work? I mean, I don't want to create a hardship on anyone. I'm just thinking with the town plan where our meetings may be lasting a bit longer.
I think I'm gonna have to start working overtime, and so I won't be out till 5:30.
Really? So 6:30 would even be that would be a stretch for you. Okay, well, I guess 7 o'clock it is. I'll let you make the motion, Warren.
I motion to leave it at 7 o'clock.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, 7 o'clock. And then one final thing before we turn it over to Luke, let's approve the minutes for last meeting, which again were part of the packet.
I make a motion to accept.
I second.
Okay. All those, any further discussion? Good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, that takes care of our reorganization. Thank you. And the approval of minutes. So at this point, Luke, we're going to turn it over to you.
Sounds good. Should I do that?
Yeah, come on. Absolutely.
So I have some copies of the memo, but first we talked about At the last meeting, when I met with you all, we talked about how it might be helpful to have a quick presentation
Yes.
first about
Yep.
the basics of what a town plan is, especially since there's some new board members. So I
Yep.
thought it'd be good to
Great.
start with that.
Fun so far, Jim?
Yeah, I'm impressed. That went fast. I'm in meetings where that part of the meeting took a day.
Yeah, I try to keep things moving, but.
All right, so yeah, this is just the basics of municipal plans in general in Vermont, before we get into the specifics of your town plan update. So basically, a municipal plan is a guide for accomplishing community aspirations and intentions through public investments, land use regulations, and actions the town can take to achieve its vision. So basically, it sets out a vision for the town, and has implementation actions and goals and policies for how to get there and achieve that vision. So why have a town plan? Having an inclusive process to develop a community-wide vision ensures that the town is moving in a direction that everyone in the town supports. It empowers communities to respond to change in ways that reflect their own goals, needs, priorities, and values. Rather than just sort of letting things happen, it sort of plans it out and makes sure that everything's going according to what the community wants. And it allows communities to designate certain areas in the town to maintain as they are, evolve over time, or to transform more quickly to improve things that need to be improved. So for towns that have a plan, they get to do a few things. They get to have zoning, subdivision, and flood hazard regulations. So town plan is a requirement to have those regulations. Also, any Act 250 applications in your town have to conform to your town plan. So it sort of sets the policy for that. Your town will be considered in Section 248 Certificate of Public Good applications. So that's for things like energy projects. And it also gives you more competitive grant applications if your town is applying for a grant. So basically, a town plan is just one step in this sort of planning process. And this is taken from the Vermont Planning Manual, which has more resources too. But basically, the first part is community assessment, developing a shared community vision. And then you can identify goals and objectives from that vision, map out the future, and identify priority action items. And so that's all part of the process of writing the plan. And then after you adopt the plan, you work to implement the plan using the implementation tasks outlined in the plan. And then you can also periodically review your plan and review what you've implemented so far to make sure that everything is still current. So these are the Vermont planning process goals for having a planning process in your town. It basically just talks about having a coordinated, comprehensive process to guide decisions and having people participate at all levels of the planning process. Consider use of resources and consequences of growth, and working with neighboring municipalities and the region to implement your plan. This one has little animations on it. So when we talk, so part of your plan process, one of the first things we're going to do is community outreach process. So there's a lot of different ways to do that. One of the best ways to do that is to meet people where they already are. So getting out in the community at different events, opportunities to talk to people, places where there's food, and what does this bottom thing say? Yeah, having a culture of communication where people feel free to share their thoughts on things. So there are a lot of different ways that you can do your municipal plan, different ways you can format it and organize it. And you can basically put anything in there that you want to that's helpful. But there also are these state requirements for municipal plans that plans have to conform to get regional approval. So since North Hero already has a regionally approved plan, a lot of these things are likely already in there, but we will be updating things for new requirements and making sure that everything still stays according to these.
And before you move on, we've
Yeah.
kind of had these discussions in the past. Some
Yeah.
of these things are gonna be a lot easier to attain than other things on the list, so we'll have to address them individually as we get there.
Mhm.
You know, education, for example, we don't even have a school in North Hero anymore.
It's a plan.
Yeah.
So anyway, but yeah, so it'll be interesting how we address some of these as we get through the process.
Mhm. Yeah, so these are the required elements, and then these are the planning goals. So municipal plans are also supposed to further these planning goals, which are all part of having a vibrant, sustainable community. And yeah, it can be easy when looking at all the required elements to just sort of tick the boxes, but also the important thing is that the plan's actually a useful document that sets out, you know, a vision for your town, and it's specific to your town, relevant to your town. So rather than just, you know, listing all the current conditions and how everything is, you should also create a plan for tomorrow and really be aspirational with the things that you want to achieve. So basically plans expire every 8 years. So your last plan was, I think.
2020.
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah.
So in 2028, that plan will expire. So that's why we're starting work on the new one now. And the adoption process can take a while. So I think North Hero is a town that does it by Australian ballot adoption of the town plan.
Not anymore.
Not anymore?
No,
Okay, great.
used to. Now it's up to the select board.
Okay, so then in that case, it would just be the planning commission hearing and then the select board hearing. And since North Hero is a rural municipality, it's just one.
Now, it's possible the select board could decide they want to put it out on ballot.
Yeah.
They have the authority to approve it.
I imagine people could petition to have a ballot.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely, yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't.
But yeah, we'll see how it looks when we get there.
Okay. And yeah, plans go into effect upon adoption. So once they're adopted, it's effective immediately. And so after your plan is adopted, it also gets approved and confirmed by the Regional Planning Commission, which is us. And since we are writing the plan with you all, we will make sure that it meets all the requirements to get approved. But this will just be an extra step after the plan is adopted. We'll sort of.
It'd be kind of embarrassing if you didn't approve it.
Yeah. Okay, and yeah, once you have a confirmed plan and a confirmed planning process, you qualify for additional things. You get a state designated center, and you get to apply for municipal planning grants, levy impact fees, and have your plan considered by state agencies in their planning.
Yeah, and I think Luke, that one slide is a little out of date with the new process, which is that it allows you to have a mapped neighborhood, but you don't have to apply for those programs anymore.
Oh yeah, that's true.
No, it's fine. It's not you, it's the slide is older.
And just one thing, because it shows up here and I want to make sure we address it somewhere as we go through the process, and that's the possibility of having impact fees here in town. We've had some brief discussions in the past, but I want to make sure we take a look at that, what's required, you know, whether or not it makes sense for the town. So maybe put that on your list looking forward.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And yeah, the Vermont Planning Manual has some more resources. This is just sort of an overview, but they have a lot of more detailed information in there too. So it's a good resource. if anyone's interested in reading more. So that's all I have for that sort of overview on municipal plans. Are there any questions on that before we move into the memo?
Well, I have a general question, I guess. As I understand it, the long-term plan is more like a constitution. It doesn't have a lot of precision. The bylaws would get into the nitty-gritty. This is more just the broad scope, talking in generalities.
Yeah. I mean, I've looked at, I've always looked at this as being the foundation for our bylaws, you know, we come up with the town plan and then our bylaws support the town plan.
I mean, is there a temptation to make it too precise or?
Oh, what, the town plan?
Yeah,
And how is the old plan? Is it roughly the right?
I kind of like the old plan.
I think a lot of these points hit the old plan.
Yeah, no, it's true. A lot of it probably just needs to be updated.
I don't think we're that much outdated.
Yeah, yes, well, you'll see as we go through it. There are some pretty significant things, but anyway, we'll get to that down the road.
Yeah, so your current plan has goals and policies. So the policies can get pretty specific, but they're not necessarily like strict actual enforceable things. They're more like things that you want to implement through other policies, like your zoning. Through actual regulation.
Yeah, pretty much the only time the plan is like directly acting as a regulatory document is in Act 250 when doing review of Act 250 applications and also the Section 248. And then they're looking directly at your plan language. So sometimes there are some specific policies related to those issues that might be a little bit more in detail. But generally, it's the foundation for your zoning regulation. So, your plan might say something like in the village, it's supposed to be mixed use and have smaller lot sizes. And then your zoning bylaw would have all the details of what uses are allowed and the lot size, exact lot size and the exact setback and all of that.
Right.
Question I have, Luke, and actually Andy too. So I know the cycle for town plans is 8 years, and I think it was somewhere that you mentioned that we don't in our current town plan have a vision statement. Is that correct?
Yeah.
We don't have a vision. So what? And I think within that context of visionizing. We should be clear about how far out we want to go because it is a future plan and whether or not, I think it said somewhere 30-year kind of forecast. That to me sounds a little bit long, but in terms of predicting, but so something when we get into this process, I kind of want to get our heads around at what point are we kind of forecasting? What's the scope and length of time we're really talking about? Are we talking about within 8 years and so forth? I also think just Jeff's your point. I've read a lot of town plans in the last 6 months, and I do find the ones not that they're prescriptive, but are clearly defined, their goals and objectives. It makes it much easier to advocate for aligning your regulations to. When you can't find anything in your town plan and you have a regulation that just sits outside of it, that's not a good thing. So that alignment is something I think we need to be really mindful when we go through this process, to make sure that the goals and objectives are clearly defined and clearly aligned with our regulations. So I'll shut up.
Yeah, no, but one real good point you made, vision statement, which we don't have. I think it's a good idea that we have a vision statement right at the beginning. I don't know how other people,
I do too.
so that's something we're gonna want to develop as we go through as well.
Yeah, and for your first point, when thinking about the vision statement, it can sort of be helpful to get people to think longer term about that piece, just sort of be really aspirational and sort of think, like in an ideal world, like what would we want our town to look like to get people to sort of think big. And then even though the plan itself is only for 8 years, you can still think about how to take actions that help get there in the long term.
Okay, good.
That particular manual, and I haven't gotten all the way through it, doesn't that have some sample vision statements in it?
Yeah.
And I've given, in the past, you've all gotten a link to this. I can send it back out, but there's some really good information in that manual. So, yeah, we might want to look at that and get ideas of how other towns have handled the vision statement. See if we can come up with something we all agree to.
So I just want to clarify, I want to make sure I got this right. We do this plan every 8 years, but that doesn't mean that it has an 8-year horizon. I mean, it's a long term.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a long, we're supposed to look way, way out, especially
That's up to us.
if you want to be sustainable, that kind of implies forever.
Yeah.
Right. So-
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think a thing to think about is that you're probably not going to do a major update of the plan every 8 years necessarily. Like a lot of times towns will do a big update and then the next one's a smaller update and then another big update. So even in that sense, it's helpful to be thinking at least sort of like, I mean, 16, that's close to 20, at least 20 years out. And then of course there are other things that you might even be thinking about longer term. Of course, you can't predict everything.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Great. Well, I guess we can move on to the memo now. What's that? Yeah, so this is the first meeting officially kicking off the town plan update. So to get us started, I brought this, which is going to list out the schedule and what some of the first steps that we should take are in the update process. So yeah, the plan expires March 2028. So we are going to review what's been done and plan ahead for North Hero. And so this is sort of looking at some of the themes that were discussed in your municipal planning grant application to get the funding to update the town plan. But that's just sort of a starting point. We can add to this list housing, rural land use, climate resilience, and other priorities. We can sort of modify that list now, and then also it'll be added to when we start the public outreach based on what we hear from people. So on the first page, there's sort of a draft project schedule. Basically, the idea behind this schedule is that one of the first things that we want to do is the public outreach. I think we talked about how summer would be a good time to do that outreach to ensure that we're reaching the population of seasonal residents who live here. And then there also might be some, summer events that would be good opportunities to do some tabling and reach people at things that are already going on. And then we also talked about doing a survey as well. So that could also be distributed and be active throughout the outreach. And then as people learn more about the plan update through the outreach, more people can take the survey. We can make sure that we get a good response. And then this is basically looking at after the summer. So in the fall, compiling all the results from the public outreach and then using that to start drafting the new plan. And so that usually takes about 5 meetings or so just to go through all the chapters of the plan, propose updates and discuss them. And so with this schedule, we would have the plan finished around early 2027 and go through the adoption process and then have it be adopted by the select board just before summer 2027. And so this is well within the timeline of the municipal planning grant. Those funds don't expire until the end of 2027. So this would still give us, a lot of room.
Yeah, we got good cushion there.
Yeah.
We may need before we're done, who knows?
Right.
Yeah, and then the last one was assuming that Australian ballot, so that might not be necessarily necessary. It might not have to actually be adopted at town meeting day if the select board just
Definitely be discussed at town meeting day.
Yeah.
So I don't know if this is appropriate. Andy, should I?
No,
Yeah.
go ahead. Well, I don't think you want to talk about public outreach. Yeah, go ahead, Pat.
Right, yeah. So I'd like to propose, my husband and I were in the marketing research business for a very long time and did a lot of work with corporations and colleges and university and member organizations. And I would really like to take a slightly different approach with hopefully the same end result as what you have proposed. So what our process usually is to do a lot of interviewing and conversations with people, we call them focus groups, and then go from there to drafting a survey. So what I would like to propose is that we think about having a meeting, that we introduce the whole planning process to the town sometime in maybe in April, as you have outlined here, and then schedule just let them know what we're doing, what all we're going to be covering, what topics have to be covered, so that people can react to these themes in a, in a vocal way, not in a, we're not capturing data at that point, but have discussions about these themes and other themes that may be out there, and that we make this as inclusive as possible. So we would have a big open meeting, invite everybody, invite the whole town to come, and then we could plan for smaller meetings and make sure that that everybody gets invited or has an opportunity to attend. And then from that point, we would kind of develop a report from what we learned from these conversations with the people from North Hero, both the second home owners, the permanent residents and the seasonal residents, come back to you and come back with what our take was on the themes. You all would have input on that, and we would work on this collaboratively and potentially even present that to the public if that would make sense, and go from there to drafting a survey, and then making sure that we use some of the methods you planned there to get the survey out so that we get a big response. So that's and I appreciate you've got a timeline here, and I think we could do it within that timeline and make sure that we reach all the population. My biggest concern is that we really reach out to everybody in town, people that aren't normally engaged, and give them an opportunity to participate like we are tonight via Zoom, if that works for them, or in person, if that works for them. So, I mean, I could I'd like obviously work out all the details and exactly how we would go about this with you, so that that we're partners in this effort. So that's my proposal.
Luke, Emily, I mean, does that sound reasonable to you that that Pat would be intimately involved in the public outreach based on her knowledge and background?
Yeah, I think we can make that work, and it might be helpful to schedule a meeting with you and kind of go through and make sure we can align it to the schedule and figure out like when's the best time to do, like I'm trying to open the budget now, but I think we had a mailing in there, Luke.
Yeah.
So like when's the best time to do that to get the broadest outreach and all that?
Yeah, and mailing may be the right way to go, and I think we should leave ourselves open to how we approach people.
And we can talk to Corinne. I mean, we have the ability to contact a lot of people in town by email, and probably not all of them, but I think
but you have a pretty broad list.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a pretty broad list. Yes.
Yeah, I think we would go about this in a, I would view this really as collaborative, and with the goal of really addressing what, George was talking about, like really developing a vision that really reflects what the people in town want, what everybody in town, not just the usual ones, the usual suspects who show up to these things, so that we really capture a broad and deep in terms of the community. That's my thought.
Pat, what I like about what you described is it allows really high quality feedback from town citizens and that help us then organize and craft a really good follow-up survey.
Yes.
So it really helps guide versus creating a survey in a kind of a vacuum. It gives it a much bigger, broader, fuller context.
Right, and that's exactly what we would hope to do. And what we've found is that you really want to make sure that you're using the right language, that it's understandable for people, and that it's there. We're playing back to them what we heard from them. You know, that we're not the ones that are making all of it up. So so you're exactly right.
Well, I think that sounds good. So let me throw this out to the members of the planning commission. I would propose that we appoint Pat as our point person for the public outreach effort and let her work directly with Luke and Emily if you're going to stay involved. So that we're not tied down by once a month to talking about it. I'd like to give Pat the authority to work directly with NRPC and report back to us, as you think would be reasonable to keep us informed as to what's going on. Does that sort of approach make sense?
That makes sense to me. Yeah.
Then we do that.
Yeah, because we're not having a quorum,
Okay.
as long as there's not four of us involved.
Okay.
And I don't.
And
Little
I would
go
want
ahead,
to
Matt.
be able to reach out to each of you, you know, to do it
Of
in the
course.
proper way, you know, so that you all kind of know what's going on while we're doing it. So it's not, you know, that I don't come back with, I don't want to come back with a surprise, you know.
No, of course not.
We're
So-
gonna hear it every month.
Well, that's right. Once a month at least, you're gonna be reporting on your progress,
Absolutely.
but you can send out updates in between.
Yeah.
And if we need to call a special meeting at some point in between, we can do that as well, but.
Yeah, and I mean, as much of you know, I want it to be inclusive of all of us too. So I don't.
Of course,
You know,
understood.
Everybody's points of view are really
Yeah.
important.
So, so if that makes sense to everybody, can I have a motion to appoint Pat as our point person on the public outreach?
I second it.
I didn't make the motion.
Oh, you did.
I just asked for a
You
motion.
can make the motion, George.
Oh, that's right. You can't make a motion, correct?
Yes.
I thought Warren did.
No,
Okay.
you can.
George.
You gonna
I'll
make the
make the
motion,
motion.
George?
I move that Pat becomes we designate Pat as our point person as a part of the public outreach process.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
And
Okay, all those in favor?
Pat, I'm willing to help work with you.
Yeah, that's,
I
That'd
think
be
that's what
great.
he was saying.
yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm happy to have you in charge.
well, then let's, can we amend the motion that with Jeff's assistance? That, and we're still not in any trouble, open meeting. wise.
Yeah, I'll clarify about that. So Pat and I can meet.
Yeah,
Where-
let's modify that motion, George, that
Okay,
Jeff
so-
can assist.
So that Pat and with the assistance of Jeff to work on be our point persons as part of the public outreach process, working with the Regional Planning Commission.
Second.
Second,
Right, yeah.
okay, I like that. Any further discussion?
Well, I have a question about people who have been around longer, like in the past. Is it hard to get people to come to a meeting?
Yes.
Yes,
My experience is when there's a controversy, they show up.
well,
But when you ask open-ended questions, then they don't.
that's exactly, and even when there's a controversy, if we get 10% of the voters to show up, that's
Right.
You're lucky.
yeah, so, but anyway, okay, so anyway, any
Well,
further discussion?
we'll have to figure out a way to get them here, food or something.
Yeah, whatever, food, yeah. We got a beer place right next door. so,
Yeah.
you know.
Here, helps a lot.
All right, all those in favor?
Yeah.
Aye.
Great. Well, yeah, thanks for being willing to step up and help take charge of that. That sounds like a good plan.
Well, thank you.
So So I guess moving through the memo a little more on the vision statement and key themes. So yeah, like we said, the North Sierra plan currently does not have a vision statement. But that's usually a good thing to have in your plan. So we'll write one as a result of the outreach. And so I have sort of a starting point list of the key themes that were talked about in the town plan that the planning commission identified as important things to focus on in the town plan update. So there's supporting the aging population, reducing development pressure on rural lands, increasing options, climate resilience. So just a sort of, obviously this will change with the outreach, but it can also be good to have a starting point for these discussions as well. So was wondering if anyone had anything that they would like to add or change about this list of themes.
Luke, go ahead, Jeff.
No, you go ahead.
No, I just there's a couple of things I wrote down that I think could help define those a little bit better, and I have some questions about them. But read the one about the house. I don't have them in front of me. What's the one about on the housing one? Increase
housing.
Yeah. So I don't know if we just want to blanket. I don't know if we should put the qualifier affordable housing options there or not. That defines it a little bit more. But I don't think we're talking about all housing options. I don't know if we're here's the distinction. I don't know if we're talking about in this vision of increasing more $2, $3, $4 million houses in North Hero. I think we're actually looking for housing that might attract people to live full time in North Hero. So that's all I'm saying. So that defining that a little bit more might be a better theme. That's all I'm saying there is blanket statement of increasing housing options doesn't do it for me, but increasing affordable
Well, that's just a theme, George.
Yeah,
So
that's just to get us going.
Within that, that's when we'll debate it. This is.
Well, I agree. So it's there, but I'm just saying, is that what the person who said that, was that their mindset behind it? Or they just said a blanket increasing housing options?
I thought we had talked about that the state required in these plans that we do address affordable housing.
Yes.
We've talked about that in this committee as well.
Right.
And that's
Right. But I think the state.
I don't know what affordable housing is.
Right. Where's the dollar? Where's the dollar amount?
And remember, they had actually Northwest Regional Planning had numbers targets that they wanted us to achieve. So,
Well, how many per year? How many houses? Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
30 to 50 between now and 2030, I think is the goal.
Right. So I thought that's that we were responding to that requirement or wish.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a big theme. So, all right, we're all in agreement that that's a big theme.
Yeah.
All right. So the other one that I don't know who said climate. What is it? Resilience. I have no idea. I mean, I know what flood resilience is. I know a lot of different what is climate resilience and how does it fall in the context of a town plan for North Hero? What would it give me an example of that? Because that just is those are two big concepts there.
Yeah.
I would, well, I didn't write it, but I would think flooding would be a big one.
Yeah. Hazard mitigation is, that's part of the town.
The lake is the extremes are getting more frequent, so super highs and super lows.
Yeah.
Okay, so when we talk about that more, that's what we're going to be talking more about.
Right, and isn't that a requirement by the state too? That
yes, that's one of the criteria. And just to get back to the housing, George, Luke pointed out all the various criteria that we need to address, but there's details to each of those criteria. And if you look, for example, at the housing, it gets into a lot of detail of what we need to address in our town plan. And it does include affordable housing. So,
And I think a bit with the climate, that's part of that forecasting piece, right? Like it's thinking, we, like, for example, in terms of our buildings, like we in Vermont are very prepared for it to be cold out, but now we're forecasting we're going to have warmer summers. Like already, I feel like the summers are a lot warmer than they used to be. And so planning for that, like what do we need to do to be prepared? Like, do our public buildings need some sort of AC now, or they never had before? So it's thinking, it's like kind of attaching that hazard planning to then some of that future thought of, okay, how are things going to change moving forward, and what do we need? We're really prepared for the things we've always had, but are there going to be problems that are
Okay.
bigger in the future?
Okay.
And
Good.
if the ice disappears, that would affect the plan, I would think.
If what?
If the ice disappears, if ice
Yep.
fishing is
Yeah.
a
Yep,
shorter season.
exactly.
Yeah.
So, and I'll be quiet after this, but one additional theme that I think we might want to include, I don't really know how to say it, but it's actually when Luke was going over the state requirements for town plans, I think we need a theme around collaboration with other island communities regarding resources and services and whatever. But I think we need another thematic kind of focus on that collaboration outside of our municipality with other smaller towns. So I was wondering what you think of that.
Who are you asking?
Yeah.
I'm asking all of you.
Yeah, but,
Oh,
well, no, I mean, one of the requirements is we do have to coordinate with other towns,
Right.
on the town plan, so that's part of the criteria.
Yeah, I would
Yeah.
think that would be. a
Sounds like
big
you
part
might
of-
wanna take that a step further, and,
Yeah, that might be a big part of how we think about affordable housing, if that's what we're supposed to, that the solution may be way beyond North Hero. It may be more a regional look than,
Yeah.
for example.
And in fact, I think that's true with our first theme, like increasing support to a aging population.
Right.
It's
right.
not going to all be housed in North Hero. So
Right.
I think you're right. And let me ask you this, because I'm just going to, I talked to a few people at Harborside before I left in February, and there just happened to be 3 or 4 people in the store. I didn't know who they were, but I introduced myself. I said, I'm planning commissioner. We're going to be doing a new town plan. And I asked them what their thoughts about really big ideas about a town plan. And one of the things they said to me, and Luke, you might be able to provide us the next meeting in April, some of this demographic information, but I'm very worried. I like seasonal people living in North Hero, but I don't like it. I don't like an imbalance where North Hero becomes 70% of the houses are seasonal houses and 30% are full-time residents. So I wouldn't mind. They encourage me to put something regarding some way of increasing full-time residency in North Hero. And I know that's a hard thing, but it's aspirational. But honestly, you kind of give up your town when it's all seasonal and it becomes a big tourist town. And I that's my biggest fear of living in North Hero. It's going to be a big tourist town.
Yeah, I mean, that could be part of the housing piece too, when we're talking about increasing housing. I think a big part of that is going to be determining what sorts of housing we like the town wants to see in the community. And part of that could be more year-round housing versus seasonal housing to give more people an opportunity.
So they could go together.
Yeah. And that's also our best way of getting sort of a rough count of what the seasonal population looks like, because we don't have a number of seasonal residents the same way we have a number of year-round residents, but we do have, from the Census, American Community Survey, an estimate of the number of seasonal homes. And we can also, you can kind of use the grand list, but there's no differentiation between the grand list of why, if it's only, is this a homestead property or not? So we can find out what percentage of homestead properties are, but of all the other properties, we can't say like, is this person renting it out? Is this a seasonal home? Is it vacant? We don't have that information.
And there is a little bit of data from the property transfer database too. You could see property transfers like when someone buys a primary home and uses it as a secondary home or vice versa. So you can that data only goes back a few years, but you can also sort of use that to look at the change if it's becoming more seasonal or becoming more year round. So, yeah, next meeting, we're going to do a data updates presentation. And so that will definitely be part of that.
Good.
So I wanted to say something about the point I was going to make before, but it ties into what George was saying was, how's it worded for the old people, making it
The aging.
yeah, supporting aging, yeah. But another way to look,
Careful how you refer to me.
yeah, well, I'm feeling old too, so don't. The other way to look at it, though, is to encourage young families, which gets into, especially since we just lost our school. I feel like we're in a little bit of a downward spiral.
Yeah,
And
that'll be tough.
That will be really tough.
this is an aspirational document.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think anything that could be done to have full-time young families.
Yep.
I think your hardest part is taxes.
That's a problem.
Taxes are a killer in this town.
Yeah.
Especially education tax. And your education tax, and then your taxes are gonna go up another $500 a year for the new town buildings.
Well, we don't know. The state may
Gonna
change
be
the
close.
formula,
Well, we'll see.
No, it's gonna be close, guaranteed.
someday, not, yeah.
I bet you it does.
They had to do it at some point.
Yeah.
This isn't sustainable. But yeah, I hear you.
Mhm. That's why young people ain't coming down. That's why they're moving out.
Yeah.
It's taxes.
All right, anything else on the key themes before we move on?
I don't know if clean water fits, but I don't know. I care about clean water.
Yeah, that absolutely fits.
Well, is that part of shoreline management?
Yeah, and protection of the natural resources. I mean, it's definitely part of the state's
Well,
criteria.
we're also septic. If we were to have a large housing development, we would have to deal with septic and
Yeah,
we'd have to-
yeah.
and there'd be runoff issues and.
Well, your septic is all under state management.
Yeah.
We can't manage none of that. It's all mandated by the state.
But we could either encourage the housing there or not.
Yeah.
That's
You don't
true.
have much land to encourage housing or not have housing in North
I
River.
know we're gonna get there, but yeah.
Yeah.
Nonetheless.
Wastewater is another big deal.
We have
Another one of our limits to growth is,
Yeah.
Yeah,
talked about taxes, we talked about no school, wastewater is another one that is working against us.
and the other one thought, it ties into the rentals, breaking out the seasonal homes by rental and non-rental, like the policy on Airbnbs.
Um,
Yeah.
We've talked about that in the past, that's,
A tough one.
it is, because it would require a whole new layer of bureaucracy within the town, if we were gonna have people register their, Airbnbs and pay the fees and everything, that's a pretty big, I mean, long run, maybe it would pay off, but it's quite a process to get there, manage it, so.
Well, if we decide that we want to encourage full-time residents, we're gonna have to figure something out.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Accessory dwelling units is another.
Not gonna be easy, yeah.
Yep.
All right, so the last piece of this, I guess public outreach planning, I guess we can coordinate further with the members who stepped up as the
Yeah.
public outreach.
Somewhat make sure you all have ways to communicate with each other.
Yeah.
Uh,
But I guess something we could talk about together as a starting point is possible community events. If we wanted to do any tabling to get the word out, are there any that you could think of during the summer that would be good places to reach people?
Yeah, well, obviously, this is a good place right
Mhm.
here. We've had events the last couple of summers regarding shoreline protection. They got pretty good participation, but if you're looking to get the entire town, I don't know.
Great ice would have been good
Yeah, yeah.
last month.
Are you talking about specific incidents or activities, you mean?
Yeah, like if there's activities already going on that we could
I
sort
mean,
of.
we could certainly use this place. We could go to Camp Ingalls.
Well, you're looking not at a local spot, you're looking at what's happening where we gather and the people company. But
Yeah, if
like the
there's,
Great Ice, for example.
yeah, something like that, that's
Where
in the
we already
town.
know there are gonna be a lot of people doing it.
4th of July,
What?
4th of July at night.
Yeah, maybe at nights, yeah. It's hard to
Tough,
get.
tough, cause it's dark.
It's dark and it's hard to, you know.
Scare
walk
people.
out there and people all over.
And
But
that's
you
the
could put-
problem with, Great Ice, it's outdoors
I
and it's
know,
cold and.
yeah.
you know,
But if you had started something, if people were at Great Ice and you had a meeting.
Meet here and
15,
then-
I don't know
yeah.
how long, but.
Yeah,
Well, if you set up a table
Yeah.
in the walk, almost everybody walks down that path at
Absolutely, yeah.
night.
of course, the problem, by the time we get to the next Great Ice, we've probably been through our,
Yeah,
our public outreach, but it's still a great ice.
Right.
We could propose something terrible and then everybody would want to show up.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
That's a joke, just so.
Yeah.
Just to be clear about it.
Yeah, okay, we'll have to think about that.
Yeah.
You know, they used to have that. The 4th of July, was that the regatta that they had out here?
Oh, the duct tape regatta
Yeah.
was good. I don't know if it-
That's not many people.
You'd be better off to have like a dinner,
Yeah,
Yeah.
put a dinner on.
How about the church events or
Or the fire,
You know,
the
back-
fire department, you know, they do. a
Yeah,
lot.
the new fight, well, but that's not gonna be done till November, but.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's gonna be tough to get something really soon. I mean,
Isn't there like the fire auxiliary or something on Station Road?
oh, that's.
They
just
do
something-
like they do like a
Yeah,
flea market or
market or-
something?
flea market,
Yeah.
yeah.
There was a
No.
call last week, or there's that concert coming up, or no, I believe
You wanna meet everybody? Well, the dump.
Yeah.
Saturday morning, that's right. Great place to meet.
But I think the point is that if we do something, most likely the summer is the best time to do
Yeah.
it. You get a lot of people are going to be here in North Hero. So
Yeah.
I would say we put our heads together and kind of think of,
Yeah.
what are some of the things that we could do or
Yeah.
tie into.
right.
Okay,
Well, yeah, we can definitely keep talking about that. And so I guess looking ahead to the next meeting, so we're gonna do a presentation of data updates. So looking at the census data and other sources, looking at, current trends that are going on in North Hero as sort of a starting point for what we're gonna talk about. To make sure everything we do is informed by data and things that have evidence of going on. And we can also coordinate the outreach. If we, do anything amongst ourselves before then, we can update the full planning commission on how that's going.
Yeah. And yeah, on that note, there's really a lot of good information out there right now on North Hero that, being part of the regional planning commission, I've seen it in the regional plan, but I think when Luke presents that, next time, you'll be surprised at how much information there is about the town of North Hero, which will be very helpful as we move forward.
Is that, do you have that ready now, Luke, or is that something you're putting
So
together?
that's something that I'll prepare for the next meeting and then
Ah.
present there. So that'll be next month, but I'll sort of start putting it together over the next couple of weeks.
Luke, would there be any also data from the county at the county level that might be helpful to inform us too?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah, we can look at county level trends and state level trends too in comparison to North Hero to see if, if they're the same.
Even if you look at the regional plan, there's a lot of information about the individual towns within this region. In fact, tomorrow night, we're supposed to be voting, I think, to approve the updated regional plan. So you could go to nrpcvt.com and look at the latest region. There's a lot of good information there, specific to each town.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's all I have.
Well,
that was a lot.
yeah, that's good. That was a great start. Let's keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
So we look
thanks.
forward to seeing you
Thanks,
again
Lou.
next month.
Yeah, sounds good.
Thanks.
You don't have to leave, you can wait for the end of the. Thanks, Emily. Thank you, Emily.
Thanks. Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah.
Yep, you too.
Oh, Luke, did you sign into our little sign-in sheet?
No.
If you wouldn't mind, please.
Of course.
Can I make a request for the data? I used to do economic profiles at the county level.
Uh-huh.
And one of my favorite things, we used to call it the Christmas tree, you call it the population pyramid.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't do it because it's on paper, but I used to animate them over time, and it was just so fun to watch the bulge, like, move its way up.
Oh, that sounds cool.
And so, but you could do a second one that did the change since the last plan.
Yeah.
To see which age, male or female, is growing it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
'Cause the idea is to try to think through, like, what's gonna happen over the next 10 years.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
this bulge is moving up, then
Yeah.
you know that it's probably gonna keep moving up.
Yeah, we usually do that, like comparison, like say 2000 to 2020 census for maybe not all of those age groups, but like under 18 to 35, 35 to 65,
Yeah.
and then 65 plus to see how that's.
I think the aging thing, in other words, is key.
Yeah. Okay. All right, onward. Not a heck of a lot more. Public comments, don't have any members of the general public here. Correspondence, there's none, visitors we've taken care of. Okay, ZA reports, and Danny, maybe if you want to just throw
Sign that. Oops, sorry.
throw your recap up there.
Thank you.
Take care, Luke.
I don't know why I can't share my screen. But there is a copy
Yeah, I.
here.
Yeah, I've seen it.
It's on my
Okay.
computer.
Again, pretty straightforward overall.
Yep, so there was one permit for a deck that was an after-the-fact permit issued
Was that the
recently.
fence?
No, the
No,
deck.
that's the
Oh, the
a
deck,
deck.
yes.
On,
Yep.
Dabney Road.
So a couple of new building permits, one for garage, one for enclosing an existing deck. One certificate of compliance for a property sale, and one decision issued for a subdivision on Butler Island, the 4-lot subdivision that was just recently approved. And then I did get the one zoning complaint that I think I mentioned to you guys last time. I did issue a decision on that, and it was appealed, so that's going to the DRB in April. And then there's one thing I wanted to bring up to everybody. So I think we've had this discussion before where as far as state permitting goes, like so shorelands permit, wastewater permits, those are all required as a condition of a building permit. So sometimes I don't always wait until I receive those permits to issue the building permit. Sometimes they're a condition of the permit, but I do wait until the state has issued a permit number and the application has gone into the 30-day comment period. That to me is an indication that the permit's going to be issued because, you know, it's got a permit number and it's just waiting on that comment period, similar to how I issue the building permits. But it was brought to my attention that somebody was unhappy with the way I did that. So I just wanted to bring it to everybody's attention that I still always make sure to follow up and have an actual copy of that permit, you know, recorded with the town and everything. But in the future, I'm just going to wait to issue my permits until I have those other state permits in hand.
Once I've been through the appeal period.
Yeah, just until
that
I
makes
actually
sense.
have it in hand. So I just wanted to bring that up so there's no more
Okay.
discrepancy or issues with that.
Okay, good.
And that's it,
And which one is getting appealed, the fence?
the fence.
Even though you said it was okay?
Yes.
That met criteria?
Yes, so my decision was that response saying that I thought the fence met the criteria put forth in the bylaws. That applicant, the complainant, didn't agree, so now they're appealing my decision to the DRB.
There was a lot of documentation in the agenda packet, if you saw it.
I did.
Several pictures of the fence.
I'm intrigued by it.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
people are talking about the scenic, you know, being able to drive there and not have a view anymore or something. I don't know how I feel about that, but.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well.
But you were, Danielle, you cited,
Good point.
The fence is, it goes almost right down to the water, and it's a 6-foot high fence.
It
So,
tapers at each end a little bit.
yeah, so I mean, it's not ideal, but it's like,
But it keeps that person's property private.
I know,
So
I think so too, I don't know.
that's just property.
I thought you dealt with it fine,
Oh, yeah, I did.
Thank
too,
you.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see how the DRB, deals with it.
Yeah.
Okay. Next, unfinished business, new business, future business, it's really all about the town plan right now. And as agenda building. Takes us down to commissioner announcements, and I have one, and this is strictly an announcement. Not for discussion because I've been asked not to discuss it in the, planning commission. As most of you are aware, I believe Chip Porter, filed complaints against both the select board and the planning commission, back in January. The select board has dealt with them. If you're not familiar with it, I would encourage you to look at the minutes of the select board meeting. I believe it was on January 12th. It includes Chip's complaints. It includes the select board's action, and it includes my statement. Basically what happened, the only valid complaints at the end of the day that Chip had was that the select board failed to conform to the open meeting law. Turns out that was not the case. And all the other complaints he made turned out they were too late because they needed to be made within 20 days of the action. And that didn't happen. So anyway, I'm not going to open that up for discussion, but I would encourage.
Did everybody get emails from Chip? Or is that just me? You did too, yeah, okay.
I think it was part of our agenda packet a couple.
Well, no, I got an email from Chip.
Okay, then it went to all of us,
So, and I had a hard time following it.
Yeah, the logic was difficult, but what Chip had missed is that we did take action within the planning commission, and the select board took action that he didn't note in his complaint. Anyway, enough said about that. You just go to the agenda packet in the minutes for that meeting, kind of. And so anyway, right, if the next step would be, if Chip wants to pursue it, he'd have to go down the legal road and hire a lawyer. So enough said about that. If anybody wants to talk to me one-on-one outside of the meeting, that's fine. Anybody else have any announcements? Okay. Well.
Okay.
Jeff, Jan, you survived your first meeting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Hope we haven't scared you off.
Not at all.
I thought you maybe talked a little too much, Jen. We like to try to keep it a little quieter.
You know me, I'm a quiet one.
Sorry. All right, cool.
I'm looking for that final motion.
Motion to adjourn.
I second it.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Meeting adjourned. Great start, folks. Thank you.
Take care, everybody.
Yeah, see you, George.
Night.
You here next month? You here physically next month, George?
No.
No, I'm still
Okay.
here. Yeah.
All right.
Still on vacation.
Yeah.
I'll be back. Yeah, they used to be 2-week vacations. Now they're 2 months.
Yeah, there you go.
Don't blame me.
Doesn't look like
As far as I am, we're trying to get down for the meeting. Then we have 2 relatives with birthdays at the end of April in Maryland, so there's a bit of a conflict on our way. So, but
As you see, Zoom
we're
works.
working on
Yeah.
we're
But
working.
I'll be zooming in though.
Oh,
Yeah.
great, George. Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We hope you get the connection.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody.
See you later.
Right.
See ya.